Yeah, you said it was cheap. Do you think that was true?
No.
It cost them a lot of money.
I mean, the first one it was.
McBean was quite wrong, I'm quite happy to say, that the Sneetches got really quite smart on that day. The day they decided that Sneetches are Sneetches, and no kind of Sneetch is the best on the beaches. That day, all the Sneetches forgot about stars, and whether they had one or not among ours. You think that's a good ending?
Yes.
Yeah, because it didn't matter. If they had a star or not, it didn't matter. That is the end of the story. Alright, can somebody open the curtains for us? We're going to talk about this story in a minute. Frog, that's not appropriate behavior right now. Stop! Opening the curtains doesn't involve talking. Okay, I'm going to ask you guys some questions about our story today. After hearing this story, what do you guys think that discrimination might mean? Any ideas what discrimination might mean, Sarah? Okay, it does have something to do with different. That's a good choice of word. Yulman, can you add something to that?
Making the same.
Making the same. Okay. So something about different and the same. Okay. Shashavir.
They're they get treated differently.
People getting treated differently. People treating them differently because they're not the same as someone else. So if discrimination is that and tolerance is sort of the opposite, what do you think tolerance might mean, Zoe?
Letting people do other stuff even if they're different.
Even if they're different from you, or even if you disagree with them or you don't think the same as them, that's part of what tolerance is. Now, can you, using the story, can you describe what the star bellies were like?
Me.
Caleb, can you tell me what the star bellies were like in the story?
Me?
Yeah, you. What were the star bellies like? What did they look like?
They look famous and handsome.
Famous and handsome, okay.
Indeed.
Please put your water bottle down. Anything else about them? Okay, Parag, how else did they look?
They were like the whites.
They were like the whites. Don't read so far into it. That's a good connection that you're making there, because it is very close to the real story. Just describe what the star bellies looked like. What did they look like? What color were they?
Yellow and green.
Parag. They were what color? They were green and what other color? What was their main body color? Yellow. Okay. What color? Somebody else. What color were the plain belly Sneetches, Anjali?
They were just yellow, black, and white.
Okay, they were yellow.
Thing around them.
And the star belly Sneetches had star bellies, right? So the only thing that was different about them was their stars. They had a star on it, right? Some had none, and some had one. Did you notice in the story if they used any different kind of words to describe them? That might be a bit of a jump to think about that. But in the story, they described the ones with the plain bellies as moping and doping, and their faces were usually like, in the story, do you remember how their faces looked like that? Their faces didn't look very nice. And the others had these very proud, serious type faces, didn't they? And they used different words. They talked about themselves as being better than the others. Now,
You should have talked about the 7.
if you are a star belly Sneetch in our class right now, how do you feel? So just if you're a star person, how do you feel? How do you feel,
I
Ashley?
feel kind of bad to feel like my stars.
That is how you should
I
feel.
feel good.
That is one of the emotions people should feel. When even if you're the one who's getting the treat, sometimes you feel bad for the ones who are not. Okay? Yulman, how do you feel?
Just
what?
Just the same bit. Same.
You feel normal. Like nothing's different. Okay? Stephen, how does it make you feel? To get a treat and to sit in a special spot. I mean, your desk isn't so special, it's the same spot as usual.
I don't like this one because there's woodworms.
Some desks have woodworms and they're not so special. Okay. Any feelings that you have with that? Okay, here's a question. Do any of you with stars feel special because you're being treated specially? If you got to go to lunch first, would it feel pretty special? Would it feel nice at all?
Yes.
Would it feel nice if someone gave you candy? Yeah? It's not a bad thing for someone to give you candy. Now, on the other side, how does it make the rest of you feel? Raise your hand if you want to share something.
Sad.
It makes you feel sad. Does it make you feel like you're not special?
Oh, yes.
Okay. How does it make you feel, Ajit?
Didn't this story on the thing? If I was one who got the star, I'd just punch all these stars. Yes.
Some people resort to violence in solving their problems, but others don't. I especially want to hear from Chan because I noticed that he was very bothered by this exercise. So can you tell us how it made you feel?
I feel special because I'm doing this.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. That's absolutely true. There is no basis for how I chose you. God made each one of you special. So there is no
Equally special.
There's equally special. So there's no I didn't make any special criteria in choosing the ones that I put green stars on. So when I didn't give you a star and then I gave them special treats, did it make you feel not great? No? Okay.
I can.
How about you, Shashra? Let's listen to how Shashra feels.
When DJ Body, I felt a little bit sad.
Yeah, it makes you feel a little bit sad. Farah, how did you feel?
I felt sad for the people who got them.
Right, so sometimes you can celebrate with the other people who get something special, even if you're not getting it. That's a good response. You.
If they just do something like bad words, like you don't have it like that, then I was just getting metal mushy and just.
Yeah. Okay. But if they said things to you like you're not as good as us because you don't have these things, then that would really make us feel not good.
I punched the people.
Okay, don't worry. All of you are gonna get candy for this lesson. I just wanted you to feel, excuse me, Brock, I just wanted you guys to feel for a minute what that discrimination might feel like. Now, our exercise is just a small exercise in discrimination. It can actually be quite bad sometimes for some people and be treated much worse than not getting candy.
Thinking
Okay,
you do always.
raise your hand again. What were you going to say?
I was thinking you do always.
No, I will not do always this. It was just an exercise. And the thing about lining up first for lunch is also not true. It was just part of this
That's
exercise.
what I said.
Now, what I want you guys to do in a quiet, orderly manner is to pair up with two other people. So I want groups of three. Don't move yet. Ajit, don't move yet. Let me give you your instructions. In your group, I want you to think about 10 things. Yulman, Diego, and Stephen. I'm talking. Stephen's actually doing a good job of listening. I'm talking right now, Anjali. Okay. What I want you to do with your partners is to come up in a notebook. You can grab a notebook. You could use your journal or something.
I have my own.
Wait till I'm done. I want you to write 10 things that you can think of that you can't change about a person. Okay? 10 things that you can't change about a person. Now you're going to have to think very hard about that. Because once you get beyond the obvious things about maybe skin color, eye color, you're going to have to think harder about some things you can't change about a person. Okay? Alright, so everybody you can move. Elect at least one person from your group to get some paper. And then I want you to write down 10 unchangeables. Okay, now that you're in your groups, I want you to put your hand down for a second. Now I would like you to start thinking of 10 unchangeables. Who's got paper for this group? Joel, can you grab a notebook, please? Okay? Something with paper in it.
A notebook.
I know you guys don't have PSHE notebooks. Get a piece of scrap paper from the back if you need to. You don't have something to write in. Okay, Chan's group is moving on. They're doing a good job. Stephen and you are getting started. The girls are getting started. Thank you. What's your question? How many dice hand hurt? Exactly. You're 3.
I thought we were dealing with them.
It doesn't matter who you're with right now, okay? Is it so bad to work with someone that you're not used to working with? It's really not so bad. You should be friends with everyone in your class. Okay? I think that you can bring something very good to this group. Okay?
Even to me.
Yeah, you can take off the stars.
Stop. We can take off our stars. I think so. Do you write about any friends?
Not about a single person. What are 10 things you can't change about a person? Not a particular person.
One person after I did it. I don't want to take the picture. Miss Snyder, you only have to see 10 things will be all of them.
All together. Just 10 as a group.
Oh, so it's not an after 10.
No. It's all together. 10. You're not coming up with 30 ideas in your group. You're just coming up with 10.
Then after I do it, yeah, I can make it because you can make it. They know that we need to sing it.
Even if you dye your hair red, you're natural.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, hair color you can take that to my
Fingerprints, yeah. Just make fingerprints more specific. That's a good idea. Work Classy class.
Yes, he is.
Let's be mindful of the amount of noise we're making. It shouldn't be the level of the playground.
We don't see that.
Okay, you've got 1 more minute. 1 minute. Okay, classy class. I like how that got quiet very quickly. What's your question? Boys? You should be quiet right now.
Where you were born? Can we just write where born?
Okay, as a class, I want you to share these. Share what you've come up with. Okay, Joel, what were the 2 that you and Caleb came up with?
Real hair, you can change your real hair and eyes.
Hey, that's mine.
Okay, and what they mean by real hair, even though you can dye your hair, you can't really change what a person's natural hair color is. So, for example, even if that earlier in the year, Chan, you had a different color hair, didn't you? What color was it?
Red.
It's kind of like a brownish color. So even though he dyed his hair to be a brownish color, his real hair color is still dark brown or black hair.
But the dye's gonna go a little.
It won't go into your brain and like totally change what's inside, like how dye doesn't work that way. It's temporary. Okay? Okay, Chen, your group, what are some of the things you guys came up with? Everybody listening, Ajit? If you guys are going to be silly working together, it might not be a good idea, okay? Okay, Chen, what did you guys come up with?
We can change where a person is from, and we can change your friends, your
Ajit? What else? Okay, you can't change who your family is.
You can change how a person is.
How a person is, like their personality.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can change what happened before happens before.
Okay, the past
You
or
can
future.
change your family.
Yeah.
And you can change